What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another great episode of the Rams Recap from the Sick Podcast Media. And understand that I'm excited because we got a playoff matchup Monday night against those Vikings. But I'm going to recap the Seahawks game, get my thoughts, opinions, and what we could possibly be looking at when it comes to Monday Night Football against the Vikings in a wild card game, man. This is going to be incredible. So, Sammy, let's hit the intro.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones.
They rush forward. Throw to Clifford. He's hit. He's hit. He's sacked. He throws it away. He flings it away on fourth down. Aaron Donald got there, and you can build that man's statue out SoFi Stadium right now. The greatest of all time on defense. Does it in the biggest moment of Super Bowl 56.
The sickest Los Angeles Rams podcast. It's gonna be sick.
You guys, we are back. We are back to being dangerous. We are back in the playoffs. We got the Vikings Monday Night Football, January 13th. All eyes will be on us. Because honestly, I'm okay with the Vikings being our opponent. I would have been okay if it was the Lions because, look, from the words of Sean McVay, we respect all, but we fear none. And that's been my attitude for the last 8 weeks of football. I've been coming on this camera. I've been coming to this mic telling you guys we are dangerous again. I am very happy that we came out there semi-healthy, even though we lost Blake Corum with a fractured forearm. Very unfortunate because he added to that run game, that 1-2 punch that I've been wanting to see and displayed at full capacity, at full strength. But we will be robbed of that with Blake Corum breaking his forearm. He is going to be out for the playoffs. Very unfortunate, but we got Ronnie Rivers. Third down Ronnie Rivers, check down Ronnie, whatever you want to call him. He is going to be actually a very crucial part in our run game when it comes to getting Kyren Williams some breaks. So, honestly, looking at the Seahawks game, recapping the game real quick, overall, I'm okay with the results. Honestly, 25 points with Mike LaFleur calling the shots, calling the plays, because Sean McVay gave him the reins to basically call the plays with backups, and we put up 25 points with Jimmy Garoppolo. And a lot of backup wide receivers out there making some noise. Jordan Whittington, man, and when it comes to fantasy, his name is going to be coming up a lot next season, this offseason. And for Dynasty Leagues, I will be looking to acquire him because he's a playmaker with limited snaps. This dude had 14 routes ran, and he led our team with 86 receiving yards. This is incredible. He's been making an impact with a limited role all season long. I hope to see him on the field next season. I hope to actually see him on the field Monday night against this Vikings team. I hope that we just find a way to get him more involved on the offense, but I'll touch on Cooper Kupp later in the show and how that could possibly work. But more so, just looking at what we are putting out there, you know, the backups out there, what we getting from Jimmy Garoppolo. Is he a good backup? I mean, can he back up Matthew Stafford? You know, moving on, who knows? But overall, looking at the game, Jimmy Garoppolo had 300 plus yards. I mean, 65% of his passes were under 10 air yards. So therefore, it's not like he was going out there gunslinging and, you know, throwing it across the yard and making big plays. It's more so that that's Mike LaFleur's way, kind of like the short checkdowns, the short little dump offs to the running back. So that's what he did with the Jets. And that's why Breece Hall had like almost 100 and something catches that year. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but more so, the running backs get a lot of looks out of that backfield. I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo had 7 targets to the running backs. I mean, that's a high target share when you're looking at his overall production against this Seahawks defense, who, again, they were fighting for their lives against our backups, which is kind of funny to me. But that just goes on and on about the story about those sea chickens, that I should say. But more so, looking at how we're going into this playoff game, we're healthy for the most part. Our defense, I did have a little issue being that we did have majority of our starters in there, you know, rotating guys out. Emmanuel Forbes got some burn as well. Not too bad, not too shabby on his debut, but overall, looking at our defense, we gave up some big plays, man. DK Metcalf, man. Tyler Lockett making some plays, and of course, JSN, you know, the breakout fantasy season that he's had, you know. Ryan Grubb fired, by the way, but that's a little bit of weird activity, but I do not care about what goes on in Seattle. I hope that they crash and burn, just like the 49ers and the Cardinals. You already know how I'm coming when it comes to the Rams. We are the top superior group of this division. We have won. We have clinched the playoffs, and that's why hard work pays off, and that's all the Rams have been doing these last couple of weeks since we've gotten healthy. But more so looking at Mike LaFleur, if he happened to take some type of play calling duty in this playoff run, I wouldn't be mad at it. I mean, Sean McVay sometimes gets caught up in avoiding the run, sometimes where, he kind of just goes away from it, and then he gets a lot of pass happy, which creates a lot of issues when it comes to the red zone, creates a lot of issues when it comes to third down. So I'm just saying I'm open-minded to the idea of splitting the play call duty. Let him have some type of huge influence on the offense at times, because I was happy what I saw. I was happy to see Tyler Higbee find the end zone again. I mean, look, he's having a phenomenal comeback, and hopefully he makes an impact in the playoffs as well. So overall, looking ahead to this Vikings game on Monday night, this is going to be a huge game for us, honestly, just based on us staying healthy, going out there, handling the job, because we already smacked this team. And I say smack in a tongue-in-cheek way, but we went out there and got the job done. We went out there and won with Brian Flores's basically blitz-happy defense coming after Matthew Stafford. But worth noting that Matthew Stafford killed it that game. Honestly, getting Puka and Cooper Kupp back showed how dangerous we could be against a defense that's kind of just going to always want to blitz and bring the pressure. And they run heavy zone, and it just also happens that we have two wide receivers that are beast against the zone coverage. I mean, look, they run it at a high 74%. That is top 10 in the league right now when it comes to defenses running that zone coverage. And honestly, looking at how this O-line performed, man, the Rams O-line was just getting back to health as well, but they allowed 0 sacks. They did a hell of a job of keeping Matthew Stafford clean. I hope that with this fully assembled O-line, now that we got the kinks out, now that we had the perfect combination of what this O-line should look like, this should be a game that we should keep Matthew Stafford clean. And we know when we keep him clean, he's able to distribute the ball to get it to Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell, red zone, Demarcus Robinson, whoever it is. This is going to be a game that we need to keep him clean, give him time, and let him pick apart this blitz. And that's honestly what Brian Flores is going to focus in on, is trying to get that pass rush going. But honestly, I think that we can get Cooper Kupp back to form, because honestly, this is going to be our keys to victory. I'm going to get into keys to victory right now. The way we win this game is getting Cooper Kupp back to true form. I don't know who this Cooper Kupp is. I don't know who this guy is, having only 4 catches in his last 3 games played. Very, very nasty work. I need 2021 Cooper Kupp in the playoffs. Cooper Kupp has the second most receiving yards in the playoffs. Second most playoff receiving yards in the NFL, in history, I mean. And that's behind Larry Fitzgerald, the great Larry Fitzgerald. This is the Cooper Kupp I need back into form. I need him to go out there and break off these routes and get these defenders and get in their heads and get them tricked out. And Cooper Kupp just needs to get back to being creative. I don't know if Matthew Stafford is kind of just shying away from him to not make mistakes, to turn the ball over, because I sat and watched Cooper Kupp's last game. I watched all 27 of his routes. And I honestly will say this. There's times where Cooper Kupp was actually open and Matthew Stafford just constantly just looking Puka Nacua's way. We need to get that iron out. Now that we had this week of rest with the starters, now that we got this prep time coming up for Monday night, we need to lock in and get Cooper Kupp back to being activated. I cannot stress how important it is for him to get activated in this game, because he was activated when we faced the Vikings earlier this season, where we started the hot streak. This is where Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp were looking like the damn Avengers. Iron Man, Captain America, you figure out who is who, but 2 alphas on the wide receiver front is what we have, and we need to activate that. We need to tap back into that. We don't need Puka Nacua, having about 14, 15 targets and 100 and something yards. No, let's spread that up. Let's cut that up, man. Let's get these guys back to what we know they could be, and that's dangerous on the perimeter, making tons of plays. The yak yards are going to be there, of course. And honestly, I hope that we go into this game with a game plan to continue on running the ball. Now, with Blake Corum out, Ronnie Rivers steps in. I like Ronnie Rivers. He runs hard. He's fidgety. He can great between the tackles. He can make a strong case to be a valuable pass target if we're going to continue on checking down. Like I said earlier, Jimmy Garoppolo had 7 checkdowns to the running back position. That's not Matthew Stafford's game, but he has done it before this season. I mean, he's done it twice where he's had over 6+ receptions to the running back this season. So therefore, that's not really his game, but we should tap into that game if we're going to try to take advantage of some of these linebackers. Now, we're not going to be doing screens because Van Dinkle is dangerous. He will pick it off, and he put a huge hit on Jahmyr Gibbs, but he got back up because that's a tough running back. He's Sonic, by the way. So therefore, I just don't want us to go out there and get caught in our old ways, into our old routines, because the keys to victory on defense against Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hockenson, Aaron Jones, and Cam Akers, a familiar face that we know, is going to be that pass rush and shutting down TJ Hockenson. I know you're probably thinking Justin Jefferson. That's fine. Justin Jefferson can go off. He can have his yards. He can have his catches, et cetera, et cetera. But if we lock down that run game like we did before, if we lock down TJ Hockenson, which he wasn't playing at the time, but if we lock down TJ Hockenson, we will be able to win this game in a nice fashion that we're not going to be stressed out. I'm not going to say it's a blowout, but more so, I just want a clean win, just like how we did earlier this season. Looking at Sam Darnold, the keys to victory also is the pass rush that I mentioned before, is getting after him. The Vikings, they're top 5 in the most sacks allowed this season. Well, in the regular season, because we are in a playoff time, but more so, that is going to be a huge factor into keeping Sam Darnold bottled up like how he was in that game against the Lions. He did not look like Sam Darnold that we seen earlier this season. He looked like he put on the Jets jersey or a Panthers jersey, because he was out there just putting complete doo-doo on display of being a NFL quarterback. Overthrowing Justin Jefferson, unacceptable. Making, I would say, bonehead decisions in not checking the ball down to Aaron Jones or Cam Akers. I can't really pinpoint the exact play, but there was a time and point in that game where he should have checked it down, but he decided to go to TJ Hockenson, where that pass breakup was crucial to them. And they're not a team that go for it on 4th down. They have the fewest conversions. The fewest 4th down conversions converted this season. That is real nasty work. So if we put them in those positions, just like the Lions did with, again, a rotational defensive line, these aren't like really star players that were getting after the pass rush. They don't have Aiden Hutchinson, like their star player in the pass rush. That's like being without TJ Watt or Aaron Donald when we had him. Like, they are missing key pieces on that defense, on that defensive line. And they were able to get to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold looked disgusting. He was pressured on 49% of his dropbacks. They were getting after him every single play. We are a team that are high in the ranks when it comes to QB pressures. 49% of his dropbacks he was pressured on. We can be in ballpark, and that's how we will get the game won. He only completed 43% of his passes, 4 yards per attempt. This is literally his worst game all season long. If we can continue on getting that version of Sam Darnold, the Rams will be A-okay. Like I said, I'm not really worried about Justin Jefferson. I'm expecting him to have over 100 yards, but I'm not expecting him to have a ton of touchdowns. I'm expecting us to go in there with a game plan to just bobble up all the other undercard players. The undercard players, as in Aaron Jones, stop the run. TJ Hawk, we suck against the tight ends all season long. We've been having tight ends just show up and show out on us. Noah Fant found the end zone. Like, come on. Noah Fant, like, when the last time you heard of Noah Fant and he found the end zone on us? Like, come on. Are we serious? So, honestly, it's a clear motion of, like, what we need to do. And honestly, like, I don't see us going into this game, with our heads up high. I think we're going into this game just focused on how we could defeat this Vikings team and move on to the next round. Because, honestly, I cannot wait to see those lines. Ooh, bring Detroit here. Bring them here. Because honestly, look, before I was saying, like, I'd rather deal with Justin Jefferson than Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't care who it is. Like Sean McVay said, how I started the pod off. We respect all, but we fear none. Bring the Lions here. They're way too cocky right now. Dan Campbell, at the end of the game against the Vikings, goes to Kevin O'Connell saying, "See you in 2 weeks." Okay. This is the problem. The Lions fan base, the Lions themselves, are feeling themselves a little too much, because if we go back to week 1, that was a game we could have won. That was a game that we were handicapped. Some guys were injured. Our O-line was not being the O-line that we have now. This is not the same Rams team that they're going to be seeing. Like, I'm telling you now, bring the Lions back. I'm telling you now, we're going to embarrass them. We're going to put them in check. We're going to humble them. We're going to give them a slice of humble pie. That fan base, respect. I love what you guys got going on. I respect Jared Goff playing his best game. He didn't work out, with the Rams, but he ended up finding a new home. It's a great story. But when it comes to this rivalry, when it comes to Rams versus Lions, I honestly think they need a slice of humble pie, because we've seen them weak this season. We've seen them weak against the Bucs and the Bills. We've seen them take L's at home. And those L's at home, they can happen again. I'm telling you now, bring the Lions here. It's going to be a different conversation, a different game, and a different energy when that game is on, Lions versus Rams. And honestly, again, I don't want to push the Vikings aside like they're, whatever. Like, this isn't a bye week for us. We need to handle business there first. But what I'm saying is I'm very eager. I'm very eager for them to get healthy. I want to beat this Lions team healthy. I want David Montgomery back. I want their entire secondary healthy. I want everybody there that is supposed to be there. Aiden Hutchinson, bring your ass back. Come back. I want all the units, all the full force for the Lions back. So when we face them, we come out with a W, we stare them right in the face and say, hey, you guys had a nice run, but sit your ass on that couch and watch us go back to bring that ring back home to LA. I'm telling you now, I feel as though that some people in the fan base think I'm crazy, or they really don't feel like they're on the Super Bowl ship. Yes, we are a Super Bowl winning team. And we're a Super Bowl team this season. We're going to go far. And this defense has showed us that they could step up in a huge way, even with the offense lacking, because Matthew Stafford has not been the Matthew Stafford that we know and love all season long. He's been on his lows, and I think that has a lot to do with one of the keys to victory that I mentioned before, and that's getting him and Cooper Kupp back on the same page. Keep converting on third down. Keep the red zone percentage high. Keep running the ball at a high rate with Kyren Williams, because this is going to be the matchup of the century when it's Lions versus Rams. And I'm telling you now, run it back. We are dangerous again. And I cannot wait for this matchup when it comes to the playoffs, because honestly, I have not felt this confident about this Rams team in a very long time. And even when we won the Super Bowl, I had my PTSD, let's just call that, where, the Atlanta game with Sean McVay's first year as a coach. I mean, Farrell Cooper, what are you doing? What are you doing? We should have went far. And then obviously Jared Goff, a broken Todd Gurley in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. That was real nasty work. So I had my PTSD. I had my priors, but this is the most confident I've been in this team on both sides of the ball. I mean, the defense, obviously the trenches are lighting it up. The secondary, the young guys are flying all around, making the big plays, taking the ball away. It's been a while since we had this type of confidence in that secondary to take the ball away. And I go back in time where we had Tremaine Johnson, George Jenkins, Rodney McLeod. Like, when I mentioned those games, TJ McDonald, this is a defense that was hard-hitting, taking the ball away, dangerous in the trenches. We are forming into that, and it's already forming into the playoffs where this can make a huge impact. So hopefully, I'm praying to God Monday night, I'm not coming on here stressed out the next time you guys see me here. And hopefully I'm here with a big smile on my face saying that the Rams are dangerous again and we're going back to the Super Bowl. So I want to thank you guys for coming to the podcast. Like, subscribe, man, and jump in the comments, man. I'm really curious and want to go back and forth with you guys, because again, I see all the comments on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. No matter where it's at and it's posted, I will go back and forth with a little sparring match with the rival teams, because 49ers fans are still in my DMs, are still in the comments crying. Please go take a seat on the couch. The regular season is over. Go get healthy. Go back to the drawing board to see what you guys can do. Same for the same for the Seahawks, and same for the Cardinals, and maybe the Vikings too after we beat them Monday night. So this has been another great episode of the Sick Podcast, Rams Recap. Again, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms at Real Deal Fantasy. Until next time.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Rams Recap with LaQuan Jones on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.